welcome to another episode of GayFatFriend and Friends, the podcast for sleepy babies. I don't know what's wrong with me, you guys. I have been so sleepy all week. Now, I did have a cold, and it quite possibly could have been hidden COVID. I don't know. I did tests. The test came back negative. But then I saw a TikTok that was like, are you having all the symptoms of COVID, but your test come back negative? You might have hidden COVID. And then you're supposed to do a test first thing in the morning in the back of your throat. Like you're supposed to swab your throat. You're not supposed to swab your nose anymore. I don't know. It keeps changing. All I know is I don't really have the cold symptoms anymore, but I have been so sleepy. I could fall asleep right now. Maybe I am. Maybe I'm falling asleep. Nope, I'm awake. I'm just kidding. I don't want to say that I have long COVID, even though I kind of think I do, but I've never been diagnosed with it, and I don't want to just give myself a disease I don't have. But ever since I had COVID, and it could just be aging, I am 43 and a half, but ever since I had COVID the first time, I get these just waves of exhaustion. Just all of a sudden it'll hit me. And it is kind of like the afternoon 3 o'clock feeling, but sometimes I'll just be, I don't know, cleaning the house or doing a project, and all of a sudden I'm like, I need to lay down right now or I am going to fall on the ground. I get just extreme like chemical exhaustion in my body where my muscles are tired and my joints are tired and my eyelids are so heavy. I take so many naps now. And look, I love a nap. I'll nap. I've been napping my entire life. I am a napper, okay? I love napping. But the naps I take now are so intense and they come out of nowhere and I have to take them. Like, seriously, sometimes back even before we left LA, there were some times where I'd be out and about and I was like, I need to take a little shut-eye in the car or else I might drive into a pole. Like, I have to take these little micro naps. And I will say one good thing about my body is I can take disco naps. I can take a 15-minute or 20-minute nap and be fully refreshed and excited and ready to go. Now, Rob, my husband, on the other hand, he cannot nap to save his life. If he falls asleep, it's at least for an hour, usually 2 or 3. It is very intense. Lots of snoring, lots of dreams, sometimes talking. And then when he wakes up, he is groggy and disoriented, sometimes lost. Rob loves to wake up from a nap and have no idea where he is. I feel sorry for him because I love naps. Naps have saved me in so many situations. I mean, it really is chicken soup for the soul. There's not a lot you can't heal with a good nap, and I've also been having trouble with recall lately. Like, especially the past couple days, I actually asked Rob, I was like, do you think I'm having micro strokes? Because for the life of me, I couldn't think of words. I couldn't think of people's names at all. We were about to watch RuPaul's Drag Race, and I could not remember RuPaul's name. I was like, the host. I used to work on that show. We watch it religiously every week. I could not remember RuPaul's name. What is happening to me? If this is what aging is, I don't want to do it. Take me off. Take me off the list. I'm done. I'm not going to age. I'm just going to stay right here. It's not for me. Aging is not for me, okay? They say, like, aging isn't for the weak. I'm weak. I'm going to stay 43. I don't think I need to get any older, really. I'm taking myself out of the running, okay? You guys have fun. You guys keep aging. Live your life. I'm going to stay right here where I am because I cannot do any more of this. If my brain keeps getting worse, we're done for. And, as you may or may not know, I am a severe hypochondriac. And if I hear the symptoms of a thing, I have that thing. But also, why are the symptoms of things always everything? It'll be like, if you like bacon in the morning and you drink coffee, it's cancer. And it's like, I have those things. I like those things. Every single time a major disease has a symptom, I somehow have those symptoms. It's not fair, okay? I hate it in here. I'm pointing to my brain if you're not watching this. I hate it in here. It's so much work. It's a full-time job. I don't want to do it anymore. Like I said, I'm so sleepy, and I apologize if my energy is weird today. The other thing I saw on TikTok recently, that like scientists have discovered that picking your nose can lead to dementia. Girl, I pick my nose so much. I have it. I have dementia. I am demented. I am one with dementia. It's going to happen. Also, that's what runs in my family. My family doesn't get cancer. There's no cancer in my family. My family has bad hearts and bad brains. So, seriously, like I said before, I'm not aging anymore. I can't get dementia. Look what's happening to Wendy Williams. I feel so sorry for her. I can't go through that. No. I'm good. I'm not going to age anymore. I think I'm done. I'm just going to stick right here in this timeline and this brain. We don't need to age anymore. Just stop it. Stop it. Anyway, I think it's time for everybody's favorite segment, housekeeping. We do have a couple things from last week. First of all, White Castle. Rob wanted me to let you know that the frozen ones do have the onions, and he does in fact like the onions. I said that he doesn't like onions and pickles on his burgers. He just doesn't like pickles. He's like genetically opposed to pickles at all times, which is hard because pickles are one of my favorite food, but he does not like pickles on anything, but he does like the onions. And the way I eat White Castles with ketchup, he likes to dip them in A1. He's one of the only people on the planet I know that likes A1, but he goes hard for A1. Pretty much anytime we go to Five Guys, he gets A1 on his burger. He's an A1 steak dipper. It's an acquired taste, and he has acquired it. So if you like onions on your White Castle, get the frozen ones because they're there. Another fun bit of housekeeping. We had an audio victory last week, you guys. Something that I have been struggling with while editing this podcast for so long. It's called audio drifting. The audio I record on my computer, or I was using a Tascam, is just a slightly different speed. Like the tiniest of speeds different from my video that I record on my phone. And I edit this podcast in iMovie. And so I align the audio. Astrophysicist! If you get that reference, I love you very much. But I align the audio with the video, and then I edit it in iMovie and export, blah, blah, blah. Well, I've always had a problem with audio drifting, where halfway through the audio is just slightly unaligned and there's a weird echo. And by the time you get to the end, it is just a massive delay and echo. And I have tried to fix this problem for so long. I mean, the whole time I've been doing this podcast, I have been looking for a way to fix this weird audio drifting problem. Well, I finally Googled the right words, and I found a YouTube video that taught me how to change the speed of my audio to match my video, and we did it. There's no more audio drifting on my podcast. I'm so excited. Ugh, it's so nice to not have to worry about that anymore. I can just click a button, slide the audio together, and it's perfect. Because when I edited this podcast, every 20, 30 seconds, I would have to make a cut and slide it over 1 millisecond and fix the audio. And now I don't have to make those cuts anymore. And it makes editing this podcast so much faster and so much easier. And I'm just like, I feel shitty for all the time I wasted having to deal with this dumb audio thing. But now that we fixed it, we can move on. And from here on out, it's going to be smooth sailing. It is made, because I record this podcast on Sundays. Today is a Sunday. And then I usually edit all day on Monday and export and get everything ready. Well, now that's going to cut that time down so much. And I'm so happy that I don't have to deal with this stupid audio drifting thing anymore. So we did it. And then the last bit of housekeeping I want to talk about is another story about Las Vegas where we were staying at the Aria. I forgot to tell this story last week, but so the Aria has a very high-end, Beverly Hills, Rodeo Drive luxury mall in it, right? There's an Hermes, a Louis Vuitton, a Gucci, all that stuff. Well, they also have a Tiffany, which is my favorite luxury store. Now, I don't own a lot of Tiffany. I have a couple rings. I have a couple housewares, their china is my favorite. But I don't have a ton of Tiffany in my life, but I love it. And any chance I get, I like to go into a Tiffany store because they're beautiful. I like to look at all the things, especially all the beautiful diamondy, silvery, platinumy jewelry that I'll never own. And honestly would probably never wear if I did own because it's too flashy for me. But I like to look at it. Also, there's just a magic inside a Tiffany store. I mean, turquoise is my favorite color. Everything's always so bright. I love silver over gold. Everything is usually decorated with platinum and stuff. So I love going into Tiffany. It's just fun to look at pretty things, you know? So we go inside and it's a normal Tiffany, and there's a security guard, and he's really nice and says hello. And then we walk around, and as soon as we get close to the merchandise, a associate walks up, and she's like, "Hello, can I help you with anything? What can I get you?" And she's just very intense. And I was like, "Oh, just looking. We haven't been in a Tiffany in a while. Just wanted to look around and look at all the pretty stuff." She's like, "Okay, well, my name's so and so. Let me know if you need any help. I'll be here." Great. Awesome. That's the way I love to shop. Well, then she proceeded to follow us around the store so closely, like literally like a dog to a bone. And if you've never been in a Tiffany, all of the jewelry is in cases that are in these like kind of circular, almost like little islands. And the associate has to like unlock a door and go in the little island. I mean, it's pretty much like any kind of jewelry case anywhere, but Tiffany has like 5 or 6 of them. And so every time we would walk to a different jewelry island, she would unlock the little door and stand inside it and just talk to us and watch us. And I'm like, just looking. I'm not in the market to buy a $10,000 ring today. I just wanted to look at it. And she was like, I didn't say that, but she was like, do you want me to take anything out of the case? And I was like, you could remove yourself because we don't need your help. We're not buying today, ma'am. We're just looking. But then finally I was like, where's the sterling kept? Because like, if anything, when I buy jewelry from Tiffany, it's sterling silver. A, because it's the cheapest and it's all I can afford. But also, B, I only like silver jewelry. I have no business wearing gold. It looks dumb on me. It's not for me. And I don't need platinum or white gold because I feel like that's all a scam anyway. Like, I'm good with just sterling silver. It's pretty. It's what I want. So I was like, where do you keep the sterling? And she's like, oh, it's in the back. And she takes us to this case at the very back of the store. And like, if you go into Tiffany, turquoise is their signature color, right? Everything in a case is usually in like a turquoise box or like some kind of turquoise jewelry stand. Well, when you go to the sterling case, everything is white. And she was like, anything that's on a white felt thing like this, that means it's sterling. And she was kind of like annoyed that we were cheap, apparently. And she was like, let me know if I can take anything out for you. And I was like, I will. We have told you this. We're good. We know what you do. And you're right here. If we need anything, we'll tell you. But to kind of let her know that I know what I'm talking about, because I do look at the Tiffany website from time to time, I was like, oh, do you have the T ring in sterling? I've always wanted to try it on. And she was like, looking around, and then she goes, oh, that one actually, that one we don't sell in store, but I can order it for you. And I was like, no, I'm good. I just wanted to try it on, but I'm definitely not going to order it. Like, if I'm going shopping at Tiffany, I'm walking out of Tiffany with a bag. I'm not ordering it and having it sent to me so you can get a commission. That's so dumb. I'll just do it myself. So finally, like, you could tell she was pissed that we weren't buying anything. And so finally we just kind of turned around and walked through the store. And I said hi to like all the other sales associates who were very smiley and nice. For some reason, the girl that like latched onto us, I don't know if her rent was due or what, but she was like obsessed with us and she wouldn't stop following us. So we left and said goodbye to everybody and just kind of left the store feeling, I don't know, like assholes. Like, it almost felt like we were in trouble for trying to shop in there. And again, I know that we went in with no intent to buy anything, and we absolutely weren't going to buy anything. But her attitude towards us, it's just like, this is one of the many reasons why people don't love the luxury industry and rich people, because y'all are assholes. If you had been nice, I don't know, maybe we could have mustered up something. There was a little china dish for $100 that I wanted to buy that I've had my eye on, I should say. I don't know if I'm ever going to buy it. But like, maybe if you had been cool, I could have bought that day and traveled with it back to Seattle from Las Vegas. But no, because you were a creepy, latchy on asshole, I'm not doing it. And like, there are literally hundreds of security guards in that store and around that mall. I'm clearly not going to steal. Like, even if I wanted to steal, all of your jewelry and everything is locked up hard in a glass case. Like, you need a key for every single case. I'm not going to smash and grab and run out of that store when you have 3 giant security guards right at the window. Like, you don't need to tail me if you think I'm going to steal. And if you're only tailing me because you want my commission, get gone. Leave me alone. That is so annoying. Don't talk to me when I'm shopping. Maybe there are like, I don't want to say dumb people, but maybe there are people that need help shopping that much. But for me, when I'm shopping, I know what I'm doing. I know where I'm going. And if I need help, I'll ask for it. Ugh, it's just so frustrating. So yeah, to pile on to the Vegas is an asshole town as a whole, that just left another bad taste in our mouth. And I don't know how we're going to do Vegas the next time we go, if we go. Plus, like I said, we always go in February, which is a cold time of year, which is nice. But like, I don't know. I kind of want to go to Vegas when it's hot and experience the pools and stuff, because the cold weather February Vegas, it's just not hitting for me. Anyway, I don't need to go back into how much Vegas is weird for me now. That's a last week Todd problem. All right, before we get into what I want to talk about this week, let's take a little break and we'll be right back. And we're back. Sorry about that. I had to go cough my brains out. And it's not because I'm sick, it's just because talking for 15 minutes, it's hard on the throat, especially when you haven't talked all day. Anyway, what I wanted to talk about today was that yesterday, Rob and I went to Costco, and it was a delicious Costco trip. If you follow me on TikTok, you saw it. I filmed the whole thing. But while we were there, we encountered this man who was with his daughter. Now, this guy was dressed head to toe in all black Lululemon. He was a very fit, I would say, 40-year-old. He had his daughter with him. It was just him and his daughter, and she was around 6. The only reason I know she's 6 is because I have a niece that I'm kind of basing that off of. She could have been older, she could have been younger, I don't know. But we go down the aisle, and we're in that aisle that has like chips and pretzels and like Pop-Tarts and stuff, kind of right across from the freezer section, at our Costco at least. And Rob and I are just shopping, having a good time, and then I hear that guy yell at this little girl, "Don't even look at it. It's junk food. This is the junk food aisle and it's bad food. Don't even look at it. We're not going down there." And she was like, "Please, I want to just go look." And he was like, "No, junk food is bad for you. We're not going down there, honey. We've talked about this." And I got so mad that I did say something to Rob really loudly that I'm hoping he heard, but that guy seems pretty oblivious if he's going to talk to a kid about junk food like that. So he probably didn't hear me. But I literally just full voice, I was like, "Don't talk to a kid about junk food. That's so weird. Oh my God, I'm so mad." And had I been alone, if Rob hadn't been there, I would have said something to him. I probably would have ruined him in front of his child. Because if you know me, you know one of my biggest things is fat advocacy and food advocacy. I hate it when people, especially like to children, talk about junk food and calories and stuff. A kid should never know about calories. I'm sorry. And this is one of the reasons I'm not a parent, because I couldn't do it. Because like when you have kids, you usually have to be around other people's kids. And if another kid talked about calories or junk food to my kid, I would be so livid. Because first of all, food has no morals, all right? Food is food. When it comes to your body, the physical science of your body processes everything on the same plateau. Now, there are sometimes foods and there are more times foods. Like you shouldn't have cookies for breakfast every day. You should have a nice, healthy, proteiny, like high protein, good carb breakfast. That's like a given. There are foods that are better for your body and there are foods that are worse for your body when it comes to like long-term health effects. But when it comes down to just the basic science of food, there's no such thing as good food and bad food. If you can eat it, if it is sold as food, it's food and your body doesn't know any different. And so much of that shame comes from parents and people teaching us that there's such thing as good and bad food. And look, I get it. Like you don't want your kid to be sick. You don't want your kid to have bad habits. But by you teaching them and literally yelling at them in a store about junk food and using words like junk food and bad for you, it's only building shame in their body. Okay? You don't need to do that. First of all, the world is going to teach them that on their own. You parents, I feel like I hear that phrase, parents are like, don't be your child's first bully or whatever. And I feel like that's the case so often. Like so many parents are teaching their kids bad habits and to be bullies, because all she's going to do, if you keep saying that to her, then she's going to be that kid at a birthday party or a sleepover or whatever that's like, "Oh, sorry, I can't have Doritos. My dad says it's junk food and it makes you fat." And you don't want to be fat and you don't want to be ugly and you don't want to be lonely. Like this kind of stuff, much like anything else bad in the world, racism, homophobia, it is taught. And just don't teach your kids this shit. It's so annoying. And seriously, this guy made me so angry. I just wanted to like go off. And it kind of ruined, I mean, we were halfway through our shop and we were kind of on the same path as this guy. So like it kind of ruined the rest of our shopping experience because I was so mad. And Rob could tell that I was mad, but I didn't say anything. And it just drives me crazy. Like I just hate almond parents. You know, that's the new term, almond mom and almond dad, because they're the type of parents that only keep healthy snacks in the house, and they always tell you to eat a handful of almonds when you're hungry instead of like, I don't know, 4 Oreos. And it's such bullshit. I hate almond parents. They make me so crazy. It's actually based in a thing called orthorexia, which is an obsession with health food. Orthorexics I don't know if it's considered an eating disorder so much yet, but it is a condition where you're literally just obsessed with health food. You are physically turned off by quote unquote junk food. You try to tell everyone around you how to eat and what they're eating is bad or good. You assign morals to everything that goes into someone's mouth. So while I do recognize that it is a mental disorder, it's just so frustrating to have to deal with because, like, just let people eat and you don't know anybody's situation. Like, sometimes all people have access to is McDonald's. Sometimes all people have access to is Doritos and Oreos and stuff from the Dollar Tree. And if like a kid is getting calories in their body is going to grow. Like, you don't need to feed a kid spinach every day. And you don't need to teach a kid how to make overnight oats and all this stuff. Like, just let kids have fun. I know there are so many directions to go with this about like propaganda and marketing and bright shiny colors on cereal boxes and all the bad stuff that happens behind the scenes with the advertising industry to try to get kids obsessed with things. But like, let kids have a childhood too. You know, it's fun to eat Trix when you're little and look at the box. It's bright and rainbow and pretty for a reason. Again, this is why I'm not a parent. I couldn't do it. Parenting is so frustrating, and I feel like I couldn't be around other parents, and then I don't want to be one of those people that like homeschools their kid and never takes them around other kids, because those people are just equally as weird. I don't know. I definitely don't think that you have to be something to have an opinion on something. Like, I don't have to be a parent to know when I see bad parenting. You know, I don't have to be a drag queen to know when I see bad drag. I just get so frustrated when people talk about food like that, especially to kids. Like, if you want to go to a Weight Watchers meeting and talk about that shit to each other, that's fine, but just leave kids out of it. Kids shouldn't know calories. Kids shouldn't know junk food. Kids shouldn't know healthy versus unhealthy food. It's all just food, and your body processes it the same. And yeah, I don't know. Sorry for yelling. I just get so passionate about this stuff because little kids have no choice but to listen to their parents. And like I said, don't be your kid's first bully and don't fuck them up, okay? Having said that, I think it's time to move on to our last and final and favorite segment. What's your order? What's your order? I have here my trusty blue Rip and Dip shoebox filled with America's favorite fast food restaurants. And every week I pull out a name and we talk about what my order is there. Because when it comes to fast food and chain restaurants, you always get the same thing. You don't look at the menu. You don't get new things unless they're like on special. But you don't get new things at fast food restaurants. You get the same thing. So let's see what this week's restaurant is out of the box. It's funny, this is episode 7. We're running out of restaurants. I'm going to have to refill. All right. This week's restaurant is Carl's Jr. / Hardee's. Beep, 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 beep. It finally happened. We have already kind of talked about this restaurant a little bit, and now we actually get to talk about it. So right off the bat, in case you don't know, Hardee's and Carl's Jr. are the same restaurant depending on which side of the Rockies you live on. On the West Coast, it's called Carl's Jr. And I think in the Southwest, and then in the Midwest, East Coast, it's called Hardee's. And I actually grew up with Hardee's in St. Louis, but now that I live on the West Coast, it's Carl's Jr. Carl's Jr. is Rob, my husband's favorite fast food burger. It's his favorite. He loves it. He talks about it all the time. There is one up here in the Seattle area. I believe it's in Renton, which is about 45 minutes to an hour away from where we live. So we can't just go grab a bag of Carl's Jr. and bring it home. If we went there, we would have to eat it there. And we don't like eating inside fast food restaurants. That might be a reveal for the pod. I don't like eating inside of a fast food restaurant. Mainly because they're like never clean. There's always like old men clubs hanging out, drinking coffee all day, and they're always problematic. So yeah, we usually like to get our fast food and bring it home. And the Carl's in Seattle is just too far away. But my Carl's order, so if you remember back in the 90s, Hardee's was kind of the first fast food chain to really focus on menu development from like a foodie standpoint. They kind of first started doing all the, not spectacular food, spectacle food. They started doing like spectacle food, and they did the $6 burger, which it's so funny to think back in the day that $6 was considered a restaurant quality, like expensive burger. And now you see a burger for $6 and you're like, oh, that's a little too cheap. That's $6. I can't Can I get a $10 or a $15 burger? Like Five Guys. Look at Five Guys. Their burgers are freaking expensive as hell. But Carl's Jr. introduced the $6 burger in the 90s, and it was kind of the first burger that was a big patty in a fast food restaurant, I should say. It was a big patty, pretty thick. I think it was like a third of a pound. It came with fresh veggies, sweet pickles, which is like one of my favorite burger toppings, mayonnaise, ketchup, mustard. It had the works, right? And I loved it. The $6 burger from Hardee's, Carl's Jr., is my favorite, like one of my favorite fast food burgers. And so when it was introduced, I got it all the time, but it was pricey, you know, and especially like when you're a kid with your parents, they're not gonna fork out the expensive burger money all the time. So I didn't really get to enjoy it until I was driving myself in high school or in college. But they still have it. I don't think it's called the $6 burger anymore, though. I think it's called the Carl Star or something. The Big Star. That might be a different one. I don't know. I'm getting my menu confused. Because Rob usually always orders it for me. But so I don't know the number of the meal deal, or I don't know the number of the combo, I should say. But it used to be called the $6 burger. And like I said, I don't think it's called that anymore. But they still do make it. It's just named something different. So I get the $6 burger with waffle fries. And Carl's has the best waffle fries. Way better than the Hate Chicken restaurant. Like, way better than even waffle fries you can make at home. Like they're kind of seasoned like curly fries from Jack in the Box, but they're also kind of like crispier and breaded. I don't know. It's just a delicious vehicle for ranch or ketchup to get into my mouth, but also a delicious potato flavor. So I always get that $6 burger with the waffle fries, a gigantic Coke Zero, which a lot of Carl's Jr.'s now have Coke Freestyle. And you know how I feel about a Freestyle machine. Oh, God's gift to soda. I love a Freestyle machine. So sometimes I can get a cherry Coke Zero, which is very rare. But I will get that burger, waffle fries, a gigantic Coke Zero or cherry Coke Zero. And then Carl's also has fair food, which you can get fried zucchini. I believe they have fried mozzarella sticks. Sometimes they have jalapeno poppers. And we love a good deep fried fair food style side. So we'll usually get one or two of those. And then when I eat the burger, because it comes wrapped in paper because it's so messy. That's the other thing. Do you remember that campaign? Oh, wait, I have a funny story about that. Okay. So the other thing that Carl's Jr. and Hardee's did was that campaign with the supermodels eating burgers. And it was all about how messy the burger was. Like the whole campaign was that they just had the messiest fast food burgers you could eat. And they are to this day still one of the messiest fast food burgers you can eat. Like you can't really get out of Carl's without a face full of ketchup and mayonnaise. But they had this whole campaign where like these supermodels and just, you know, famous actresses and stuff were eating these very messy burgers and sauces were running down their hands and stuff. Well, then they started to morph that campaign and they added like hot men, and then they started doing like jokes and characters and stuff. And so I would say in like 2012 maybe, when I lived in LA, I auditioned for every commercial. Like if you needed a man in a commercial, I auditioned for it. I didn't book any of them. That's why you don't recognize me. But I did audition for almost every commercial that was filmed in Los Angeles for like 10 years. And they were doing this campaign where they wanted like a fat guy to eat a burger from Carl's Jr. with a supermodel. I think it was a Super Bowl campaign, if I'm not mistaken. And so I went in, and when you walk into the audition room, they literally had a pile of like 50 Carl's Jr. burgers wrapped in paper, like from Carl's Jr., like from a fast food restaurant, in a pile. And when you walked into audition, they were like, grab a burger, take a seat, and then we'll get going on the audition. And for the audition, I just had to like take a big, juicy, gross bite out of this burger. And I had to do like 3 takes. And the burgers were like cold and old. They had been there all day. But really did come from a Carl's Jr. down the street from the audition studio. So they were like really greasy and gross. And after each take, they had a bucket next to the stool that you're auditioning on, and they were like, just spit it out. And so it was just this, the room reeked. It was disgusting. The slop bucket was horrible. And then, you know, I did my 2 or 3 bites of the burger, and then they had another trash can by the door, and they're like, just throw it away on your way out. Have a good day. And like, I didn't get a call back or anything, but just to think how many burgers they wasted for that audition. And they probably do that so many times. Like I've had other auditions where you have to eat food, and they had food in the room. So What I'm saying is the commercial industry is wasting so much food, which I'm like, do you guys really need to see people eating the actual food? I mean, this is the first audition. It's not even a callback. Can't we just pretend the first round and then when we do callbacks, get everybody burgers? I don't know. But yeah, so Carl's Jr. has had quite the wild ride since the 90s of their advertising, and they're kind of always at the forefront of spectacle advertising, as I like to call it. But you know what? It holds up, and it's still quite delicious. And one of the things I miss about LA most is the frequency at which you can find a Carl's Jr., at least in the neighborhoods that we go to. There used to be so many more, and they all got torn down. There was like a giant one in West Hollywood, and they tore it down and built a high-rise. And then somebody got stabbed, so no one would have gotten stabbed if you left the Carl's there, LA. I'm just saying. Oh, all right, well, that's been another episode of Gay Fat Friend and Friends. Thank you guys so much for listening. Please tell me what your Carl's Jr. / Hardee's order is. I'm realizing now that I should also tell my breakfast order, because at some restaurants that's totally different. And I firmly believe that Hardee's and Carl's Jr. has the best breakfast. I always just get a sausage, egg, and cheese biscuit and their hash browns and a soda. But they have the best biscuits. And like back in the day, they used to make them in a little window in the restaurant, and you could watch them make the biscuits. That was their whole thing. Like, we make biscuits fresh every day and you can watch us. Now I really want Hardee's breakfast. It is the best. Seriously, they're buttery, they're salty, the best egg, the best cheese. I really have to go find that now. Okay, I don't know what I'm going to do because it's so far away. So maybe I'll just get up at like 7 a.m. tomorrow and drive an hour to get Hardee's breakfast. But yeah, please tell me your Carl's Jr. / Hardee's order. They have so many fun things. They have a really good chicken sandwich, but I haven't had it in forever. And yeah, sorry for yelling about junk food, but it had to be said. I'm just so mad about it. All right, well, enjoy the rest of your day. Thanks for listening to my podcast. You guys are so fun. Thanks for all the comments. I can't wait to talk to you next week. I hope you're having the best time, and I love you. Goodbye.